Hello and welcome to the second video of the Python course. Today we will learn about variables and assignments. As in other programming languages, Python too has variables, but not as other programming languages. In Python, there is no need to declare the type of the variables. In Python, a variable is created when we assign a value to a variable. That value called an initial value. In order to get along with the demonstration, you will need to download the Python interpreter. To do so, let's go to Google and enter Python. Here we will go to the first result, then we will go to the downloads, we will choose the 2.7.9 version. Here we will choose the download that fits our operating system. Again, in this course I assume that you know how to install basic services. Therefore, I will not cover it. After you downloaded the Python interpreter and Python, let's go to Python. I've already created a Python project. However, if you want to do so, please go to File. Here you will need to go to New Project. Then you will need to change the project name if you want to, the location. The project type should be empty project and the interpreter should be 2.7.9 in your case. Then you may click on the OK button. Now, in order to create a new file in your project, you will need to click on the right mouse. Here you will need to click on the New, then Python file. In the name section, please choose your name of the file. I will choose demonstration.py. Py is the extension of the Python files. You will need to specify them whenever you create a new Python file. Let's click on the OK button. And here you go. We have this new file created. The author will be your computer name. And now we can start. As I mentioned before, in Python, a variable is created when we assign a value to a variable. That value called an initial value. Now, if we want to create a variable named x, we want to assign a value of 5, we will do so. Now let's try to find out what is the type of x. Let's type print, then type, and we will specify our variable name, which is x. Okay. Do not panic if you don't understand what print does or what type is. We will get into those in the next videos. In order to run this program, please go to the Run and then Run option. We will choose the demonstration file, and here we will get the type is int. Now, if we will change the variable value to 5.0 and we will click on the Run option again, we will see that the type is now float. However, if we change the value to some text as Harry Potter and click the Run again, we will see that the type is now str. In addition, if we will change the x variable to true and run the program again, we will see that the type now is bool. We will going to learn about all of those types in this video. Let's change back the value of x to 5 and run the program again. Now we can see that the type of the variable x is int because the assigned value is 5. In this example, we created a variable called x with the initial value of 5. We can get the type of the variable using the built-in function type, which gets a variable as a parameter and returns the variable's type When assigning new value to variable, the type of the variable is updated, as we saw earlier. If x was integer till now and we assigned a new value, the type of the variable will change. There are constraints on variable names, which are the same for the C programming languages. A variable must begin with letter or underscore and can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. We can create multiply assignments in one line. For example, let's create two variables, x and y. Let's say we want to initialize both of those variables in single line. We'll say 15, 12. Now, the first variable x is equal to 15 and the second variable y is equal to 12. Let's say print x, then print y. Let's run this program again and we will see that the x is 15 and the y is 12. Great. The command print, in addition to other commands, and do not confuse between commands and functions, works without curly braces. That is because it is not a function, but a command. The difference between a function and command is that a command is every saved word in Python, which can help us write the flow control of the program. However, function is a set of commands, other functions, and built-in functions that we organize in order to create a basic function. Another important note is that Python is case sensitive. In other words, there is a difference between a variable named, let's say, x and x. Those are two different variables. Now, when we understood the basics of variables, let's learn about variable types. The first type is integer. The most basic type. The type of integer is int, integer shortcut, and they are very similar to integers in the C programming language. Python creates integer when we write only digits without any letters or marks. For an example, x equal to 5. If we will try to print the type of x, we will see that the type is equal to int. Integers are basically numbers. Now, we will talk about decimal numbers. The representation of decimal numbers are different than integers. Therefore, the maximum digits is different. Decimal numbers has not long type as integer has. Let's see an example. X is now equal to 5.0. If we will run this program again, we will see that the type is now float. Okay. The next type is Boolean. The Boolean type can handle only two types of values, either true or false. In many functions in Python, there is a standard to return this kind of variable type. For an example, let's create a variable called flag, and it will be equal to the true value. If we will run the program again, we will see that, oops, x is not a fed. Now, if we will run this program again, we will see that the type is bool. Again, for the false value. Now, booleans are similar to integers because Python knows to translate booleans to integers. True is translated to 1 and false is translated to 0. The translation is made in the background only when we will try to do mathematical operations on booleans. For an example, let's say that our flag variable is assigned to false. And let's print flag plus 1. So you can see the flag translated to 0 and the result was 1. Again, for the true, the result now is 2. Okay, we got now into strings. Strings are basically text. Okay, let's create a new variable called str. string will be Python course. Now let's print this variable using the print command and run the program. We will see that our text is represented. Now we can specify the string representation for two ways. The first one is in double quotation marks, and the second one is in single quotation marks. The result, however, will be the same. If you want to combine an apostrophe in this representation, you will need to key on the slash mark, and then you will need to choose the apostrophe key. Here you go. Now, there are many built-in functions on string in Python. However, we will not cover them in this part of the course. If you want to combine strings and variables together, you can do it using the plus key. For an example, that is our string. Let's change it to my grandpa. Let's say that, let's change the value to val and say 100. Now let's print my grandpa is, then use the plus mark in order to combine a variable val plus in order to combine a new string, and then years old. Okay, now if we will try to run this program, we will get an error. Let's see. Type error. We cannot combine str and int objects. So what is the solution? We will need to use the str function, which translates every object to string object. Now, if we will run this program again, we will see that the result is shown. My grandpa is 100 years old. Okay, we have learned a lot in this video. I hope you enjoyed and understood everything. Thank you for watching, and please do not forget to like this video and subscribe.